Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time.
Grab a cup of joe and let's gather round that hay bale. With your hosts, Anne from Andale Homestead, Cayce from Ormsby Farms, Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch, and Sandi from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Here they are. Hey, y'all, hey.
Y'all, hey, welcome to Round the Hay Bale podcast. I'm Anne from Andale Homestead.
Hey, everyone, it's Cayce over at Ormsby Farms.
I'm Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
And this is Sandi from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. And this episode is close to my heart. That's right, we're talking about saving seeds. All those vegetables, all those flowers, those herbs, everything that you're growing out in your garden. And we are going to talk about saving those seeds so that you can replant them, because that's an important thing. And you have to know when you can save that seed from that particular plant. And so we're going to talk about that, what to do, where to store them, all kinds of stuff. And I know that all of our panel wants to save seeds. I know it. It's in their heart. So, Anne, have you ever saved any seeds?
I have, Sandy. Thank you. I do save seeds. I save as many. Now, just a little reminder for everyone. It's important when you say, I'll remember what's in that bag of seeds. Please label them, because I am the worst of having bags of seeds around and go, now what was that again? But it's such a skill that we all need to know. And this is a world that is, the doors are just opening for me, because there's many things, especially with herbs and flowers and all sorts of things other than tomatoes and squash and pumpkins and things, that I'm learning how to save the seeds. And so, Monica, have you been saving some seeds?
I have saved seeds. I am not the best at it. I am the person that watches my lettuce and my collards and all that bolt. And I'm like, yeah, I'm saving that so that all the pollinators can come in, those little flowers. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I can go collect it. So I have been known to take bolted plants where I know the seeds are ready and basically throw the head of the plant, like my lettuces and my collards and my green, a lot of my greens and stuff. And I basically take a large Ziploc bag and I like shake it into that Ziploc bag. And now I've got like the tops of it. And I'm like, there's my seeds, and I seal it off and then I label it. And then I say, I'm going to get back to that later to maybe finish up whatever I'm going to do with it. I actually have never gotten back to actually doing anything with it except for planting those seeds again, and it's worked. So I don't really know if I'm doing it right. I do know that I'm not storing it in my greenhouse. I do store it in my house, and I do label things. I just don't get back to finishing what I start. That is a persistent problem for me. So do I save seeds? Yeah, totally. Is it the right way? Probably not, but I've done it.
How about you, Cayce?
Yeah, what about you, Cayce?
Let me just say that I can see Monica's husband, Eric, listening back to this podcast and nodding and agreeing as Monica's talking. Like, correct. Correct. She starts and does not finish. No, but with saving seeds, I'm glad that you said this, Anne. A skill. Saving seeds is a skill that you need to learn how to do. The past couple of episodes, we've talked about pantry prepping. We've talked about canning. But when you're prepping your pantry, knowing how to save your seeds that you'll then grow to make more veggies to then can for the next year is a skill that we should tie into pantry prep. So really, seed saving is prepping your pantry. Yeah. And I'm kind of like Monica on the seed saving. Now, I will say I'm a little bougie on how I store my seeds. but getting to that storing seeds is a 2-year process sometimes. Like I'll forget. I even bought the little brown manila packets to put them in because I wanted to be cute. I even bought little Ormsby Farm stickers to put on them. So if I wanted to send them out to friends, but then you'll let something go to seed. Like I always say, the little rotten looking tomatoes on your thing. I'm like, no, I'm saving. I need those to be really mature. And then I leave them too long and then the raccoons get it. And then I'm like, it's okay. I have more ones that will go. So I would start it. I have no clue how to do lettuce and herbs. So that's why I'm excited about this episode. I'm a pumpkin. I'm a squash. I'm a cucumber and a tomato seed saver. And I will say that out loud and proud.
Okay, so I will say I have successfully saved seeds from this sounds so stupid, but the organic mixed peppers that you get from Costco?
100%.
Okay.
Agreed.
So we love those peppers, and my peppers are never really big enough to make, I've never gotten to the point where I have enough peppers consistently, and we make peppers, like stuffed peppers, all year round, right? So if I can get it from Costco, and usually they're organic or whatever they are, I grab them and I'm like, I'm going to take these seeds. So we go through so many of them that I have been known to take those seeds, dry them out on a paper plate, and use those and put them in those little cute envelopes. And I have 2 of those envelopes packed out with, and I even write on the outside, store-bought from Costco mixed peppers. I will tell you that I have successfully grown pepper plants from those pepper seeds in the past. So that's probably the most successful seed saving excursion that I've taken over the past few years. But
isn't it true, Sandi, that organic, as you said, Monica, organic is what to save those seeds. The veggies from the store would need to be organic, right? Because other ones are sprayed. Or am I incorrect?
Well,
I mean,
just because it says organic, just because it says organic does not mean it's not sprayed. The thing that you're looking for is that if I buy something out of the store, I want it to be organic, and I'd like it to say that it's an heirloom, because I know that I can easily save the seeds and grow exactly the same thing. A lot of things are open pollinated. They're not old enough to be quote unquote heirloom yet. And so I just have to be careful when I buy stuff at the store. But when you go to save your seeds out of your garden, there's just a couple tricks you should remember. Like if you want to save your peas and your beans, let that outside part be dry or halfway dry, so that then you know that you can save those seeds from there. Your tomatoes should be ripe. If your peppers have gotten to that point where they're a little wrinkly, it's a little over what you would probably eat, those are the perfect time to save those. But if you want to save cucumbers and eggplants, they need to be way overripe. Like that cucumber should be almost yellow instead of the green. And then that seed is mature enough to get exactly that same cucumber again. So those are just little tricks that
it's funny that you did say that. I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's funny that you said the orange yellow cucumber. Because I had some friends over in my garden. They're like, what is that potato coming out of your garden? I said, no, that's an overripe cucumber because I'm saving the seeds. But then something got into it, so my chickens got it. But
oh my gosh, I had no idea. I've been giving away or putting in the compost all my yellow, gross cucumbers. And the seeds that I've saved have not done well for cucumbers because I've gotten them from the green ones.
Right. They need to be way overripe, and then they've gone through the whole process that'll give you a good plant for the next year.
Learn something new every day, every time here. Learn something new.
Okay, so it always feels like when you have the tomato seeds or the cucumber seeds, there's like a jelly on them, right? So if I want to, I've got my really ripe tomatoes, I've got some really ripe cucumbers in the past, not now. But what do I do from there? So let's just say I've got the really overripe stuff. How do I start saving those seeds? Because it's got that gel on it, and I'm not sure how to get that gel off.
Well, like with your cucumbers, I just put them in a sieve, and I just run them underwater, and I'm just moving them around with my hand to get as much of that jelly kind of stuff off of them. Then I put them on wax paper. You could put them on newspaper. You could put them on paper plates, paper towels. I just prefer wax paper because it's easy when they're dry to come off. That's just a personal preference.
That's
With a
awesome.
tomato, you can just dry them like that, or you can put them in a jar of water and they will start to ferment. All of the viable seeds, the seeds that will make a tomato plant, will sink to the bottom. And the ones on top where the fermentation is going on, those you just scoop off. And then when I'm done with that process after about a week, I just send them through the strainer again, rub anything else off that might be still stuck on those seeds, and put them on the wax paper. Now, when you dry them, because you want to make sure every seed is dry. If you put them in, they're not dry, and you put them in a Ziploc bag, they will mold. So if you're at all concerned with that Ziploc bag, put a paper towel in there for it to suck the moisture out. But I really like using rather the little envelopes because it's breathable. Or for like my tomatoes, and I know you guys can't see this, but the panel can. I put them in little glass jars, and it has a cork on top, so it's breathable. And then I just write, like, this container has a whole bunch of Cherokee purples.
So wait, what happens if my house is like higher humidity? Like, so if it has a glass container with a cork like that, are they going to get moisture in them? I mean, it sounds stupid, but like because you were saying the air, it can still kind of breathe a little bit, right? With the cork.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I would do, since you have a lot of humidity where I live, it is not humid.
Okay.
I would just slide a piece of paper towel into that glass jar.
Okay.
And so if there was moisture that you didn't want, it would suck into the paper towel.
Okay. So we could do the paper towel in there. So my thought was over time, like if I'm saving this for a year or two and I have these little glass jars, like when I keep my homeopathy and other things, I keep it in a dark place. I keep it in a drawer kind of away. So that's what I'm kind of thinking is so storage is important too, but how you store it and where you store it, it can be different depending on what climate you're in, because like Ann and Cayce kind of live in the soup bowl.
Yeah,
so it's very humid where they live. And Cayce's shaking his head yes too. That would be important to maybe stick something there if you're going to use a cork or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, even when I dehydrate things from my dehydrator, I have to be very careful, not seeds, but other items. I have to be very careful and remove them almost immediately to be able to get them in a container to keep them from getting air back in that would rehydrate them because of the humidity that we have in our area. But so for seeds, paper plate or wax paper is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the little jar. And you told us a trick about that little jar for the tomato seeds when we have water in there, about telling which seeds are actually fertile and which ones might not be so good.
Yeah, on your tomato, if you're going to ferment the tomato seeds in water, the ones that sink to the bottom are the ones that are fertile. They're the ones that will make a tomato plant. The rest of them, when you skim off that scum part, just throw it in your compost pile. Because it won't make a tomato plant.
Oh man. Okay. All
right. So we've talked about saving the seeds, and another important part is I want to put out there and get Sandi's opinion and her wealth of knowledge on how long those seeds store for. How long do they last? Because one thing that I did when I first moved to the homestead, of course, I didn't have any of my own seeds saved, so I purchased all seeds that I wanted for my garden. Okay, so we're on the 3rd year now, and I did notice that those seeds, the germination rate went all the way down, like to none. How long, Sandi, when you save your seeds, how long should you put an expiration date on there so you can visually see how long do they last?
Well, it really depends on the seed. The seeds that are the shortest are carrots and parsnips. They will really only last 2 years. And then your germination rate goes way down. It's not like it won't sprout some, but it'll go from, after 5 years, it's probably down to 90% that won't germinate. Where I literally have planted tomato seeds that were 30 years old.
Wow.
My one friend planted some tomato seeds from 1978 and they grew. But you just have to know you're going to have to plant more seeds when the plant is older because some of them will not germinate. And how you store them can make a difference. Now, some people store theirs in the refrigerator. If they can have it about 41 degrees, that's a good temperature. So if you have, depending on how you regulate your refrigerator, I never freeze my seeds. I know there are people that do that, but I think that is not a good idea. I think it breaks parts of the cellular walls and it does some stuff to it. So I would never freeze them. For me, I have them in my pantry. I have them in one little corner of the pantry where it's the coolest part of the pantry, probably 55 degrees all through the winter. And I have good germination rates because of that.
Okay. Because I was always curious. Also, you do have people that put them in the freezer and people that say you have to have them cold. And then sometimes mine gets stuffed in a bag that ends up in the shed that's not temperature controlled. And, I think, oh, well, these are not going to be any good anymore. But to know which plants or which seeds would be fine if they're in the pantry or if they're in a cool, dry place, or which seeds might be okay if you forget them and put them in your shed, kind of thing.
Well, and there are charts, PDFs online that will just say, okay, it just lists all the vegetables, all the herbs, all the flowers, how many years that they have tested, that they have lasted that long. And so you can just print one of those off. But I always tell people, say you have a package of seeds and you don't know how long you've had that, all you have to do is put some of the seeds between a couple layers of damp paper towels and see what germinates. They'll germinate in a couple days. It'll say on the package how long it usually takes to germinate. Just keep them damp. And if they start to germinate, plant them.
I love that idea so much.
I know.
Because that's so much easier. And okay, so I do have some heating mats now to help with some germination of some seeds. But before I didn't, and I used a heating pad on the low side. Have y'all, and Cayce, have you used any kind of warming things to help your seeds germinate?
Well, Miss Andale, I'm bougie, yeah? And when my bougie butt moved out to the homestead, I purchased from one of the big YouTube channels, Amazon link storefront. I probably paid their electricity bill that year. I got the heat lamps, I got the heat mats, I got the germination domes, I got the lights that went over it.
Gotcha.
But I've noticed that even when I don't have the lights for germination, they still germinate, like from the lights outside, as long as it's in an area that gets sunlight that is somewhat warm. And let me just say, my house is always warm because Monica talked me into when I first moved here. She says, we keep ours at 80 because if the kids say it's hot, I say, go find some good shorts and a tank top. And that's what I've done since then. So the light stuff I have. Now, Sandi, again, remember Bougie Cayce. Hey, I'm Cayce, I'm Bougie. I keep mine. I saw it on Instagram. I keep my seeds in like a binder in the baseball card. You can save the baseball cards, the little slots. I do it in there to organize. Is that good? Or because again, hot house, listen to Monica, it's about 77 here. Is that good, or will that plastic mess up the seeds?
Well, the plastic probably won't mess up the seeds at all because there's one side that's open, right? And the seed packet is kind of pushes that plastic out, so it does have some air.
Kind of, maybe in the top, maybe a little bit, but it's kind of like double-sided plastic, and then you were supposed to slip the card in the little opening to where it is. And
It's probably fine.
Okay. And I do know that a lot of my store-bought seeds, listening to you talk, we don't know how long those seeds have been in the packet. I'm sure, they're taken to the Home Depot and then they're pulled back when it's not gardening season. And then they go in the warehouse, they pull it back to the Home Depot, and then you don't know how long it's sitting there. So I see the importance of really having your own seeds that okay, Cayce put them in October 2024, and I know it could last longer. So, I mean, Monica, what is your thought on that?
So I think, I mean, there's a lot to that. I don't use the little baseball card storage thing. That's what I'm envisioning is your like baseball card book. Like my brother used to collect baseball cards on a 3-ring binder in case
Eric's going to be listening. Eric's going to get you a baseball card binder.
Baseball card binder. No, so I actually have these 2 cases. They're like the photo storage box cases. People use them for seeds it was like all the big rage like 2 or 3 years ago. People were doing all the reels and the shorts. This is how I save my seeds in color-coded boxes. Okay, yeah, I fell for it. And it works for me though, because I can carry that box out to my garden and then I can like fiddle through everything. I have everything labeled. I have tape that I take in my little garden bag, and then I like reseal those little things, put them back in the little plastic cases, and then carry my little bucket back inside. So I don't leave it out there. So I carry it in and out of the house. That works for me. The color coding doesn't necessarily work because there's an overflow of a lot of the same things, but I do like that because it does give me a sense of organization. But it was, I was wanting to say that, a couple years ago, our local feed store was rotating their storage, right? So they're rotating their seed packets and they were cleaning house on everything that had expired in 2019 and 2020, I believe. So I think it was like 2023. So it wasn't just now, it had to be 22 when I was doing it. So it was 2 seasons ago. And so in 22, I went and bought seed packets that they said expired in 19 and 20 and 21. And I was like, well, I'll buy them anyway. And she was selling them for like 5 and 10 cents a packet. I was like, count me in. So I basically cleaned them out. And my sister-in-law, who is a wonderful homemaker for her family, she does a garden every year in Maryland. And I knew that my brother-in-law didn't have a job. And so she was like, I was like, hey, are you growing a garden? She's like, I want to, but I'm struggling with what seeds to purchase. And I'm like really careful because I don't really have any extra money to go buy. And a seed packet is not expensive, but you don't always know what you're getting sometimes. And so you're trying to find where to invest your money. And for her, it was investing it in current food for her children at that point, not the seeds that she may not know if they grow. So I grabbed handfuls of like broccoli and lettuces and cabbages and pretty much everything that I could find, cleaned out my local feed store, and I sent her as many as I could. Like I just filled packages up, sent them out. She was so impressed and so excited. Seeds grew. And she was like, they expired in 19, Monica. And it was like 18, 19, and 20 and 21. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 years worth of expirations that they had kind of stored in the feed store. And she was like, I can't believe seeds that expired in 2018 and 2019 are still growing. And I'm like, I'm telling you, just because the package expiration date says it doesn't mean you can't still try. Now, she may have pulled an Ann Dale and dumped an entire package in one hole. I don't know. But I will tell you that she fed her family that year with seed packets that were expired. And we don't know the situation, the containers where they were in or whatever. But I was really very pleased. And, God really blessed that situation. But they were expired. So don't give up on expired packages because I still think that they have value. And like Sandi, that trick is amazing. If you didn't even think about that, like you just put it in a little wet paper towel and see if it germinates. That's like genius, easy. Genius level easy, but that's something that I never thought about. Like that's like brilliant. And that's something I wouldn't have thought about. I'd have been like, just dump the packet in, see what happens. And then go from there.
We've talked about veggies, but Sandi, what about fruit?
Yeah.
What about fruit saving seeds? Because now I'm crazy and I love dates. Let me tell you, I love blue cheese stuffed dates.
Can I grow my own date tree?
I have pulled out the seed. Can you, Sandy? I get
You-
okay.
You can. I have grown them down in Arizona, and they'll get 3, 4, 5 feet tall, and then I have to give them to somebody because I can't take them home. Um, you do have to have a couple of them because you have to cross pollinate. But it until they had this mechanism, it used to be that there were climbers of those trees that would go up. Sometimes I think the guy told me 15 to 20 times to keep pollinating because flowers go at different times, and they would climb up and they'd pollinate and then they'd come back down. And so you could grow, if you had room and you had the right temperature, you could grow them, first inside, and then they'd have to go outside.
How tall? I'm gonna have to go do some research on how tall they get
I
because
know,
I
me
like
too.
dates too, and I buy them, and they're always like or gigantic, organic. They're always organic, and so I'm always buying them, and I'm like cutting open, like I wonder if I could save these, and I'm like, nah, I can't save
Yep.
this. I can't grow a date tree.
Are you
Yeah.
a date fan, Andale?
I love dates. I think
Did
dates
you-
are great.
We should so grow some date trees.
I'm gonna
We
try to
should-
grow date trees. Eric's gonna be like, "What are you growing now?" And I'm gonna be like, 2 date trees. I have to have at least 2.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Sandy said.
And if you have a lot of dates, you eat a lot of dates, you can dry those seeds and grind them into flour too.
Huh?
So it's just something else you could do with the date seed. If you weren't going to, you weren't going to grow them as a tree, you could just keep collecting them. And when you had enough, just grind them up into flour.
Oh,
What?
my gracious. I agree. What?
Eric's gonna be like, Monica, why is there a jar of date seeds in our pantry? And I'm gonna be like, because I'm gonna grind them for powder. All this big giant jar, and I'm gonna grind it and get like a cup and a half of powder.
That's right. That's
See,
right.
my mind's exploding right now that I'm like going into my fridge after we get off here when I really should be making bread and going in and trying to get seeds from lemons and limes and oranges at the very bottom of my crisper and like,
You're gonna be-
let me try it. Because
you're gonna be gutting all your fruit.
who wants to pay for, because listen, they are good prices, and a lot of the big box stores has the lemon, lime, and clementine mini trees as a
Yeah.
deal for $100. But if you have all of those, why not try to save the seeds and save that $100?
If you have time.
Right now behind me,
Uh-huh.
I have over 24 lemon trees growing
What?
under my lights.
Okay,
And
so
they're
how
just
do
from,
how do
you
you
just-
save those seeds?
you just take the seeds out. You can actually plant a citrus seed without even drying them.
Like I can put a half a lemon in the ground.
No, you just take the seed out, put it in the dirt, or you can let them sit and dry for a little bit. I don't usually let them dry very much at all. I usually just take them out and plant them.
What?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, mind
Doesn't it
blow.
take like 40 years to grow to get a lemon when you do
Oh
it?
no, you'll get it in 3 or 4 years. You'll start getting lemons.
Oh my gosh.
See,
And you
mind
got
blow.
3 or 4 years, okay?
I think so. Can I just say that all of our minds are so blown that we're looking at the podcast recording and be like, all right, thanks everybody. Bye. It's been great. Great podcast.
I'm like, how much time do
We're
we
all
have
going
left?
to
I
get
need to go
lemon.
get some lemons right now and limes, and
Yes.
I'm gonna gut all my dates.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think we just don't sometimes think of the things that we can actually grow from seeds. But we can. And why pay $40 for a little lemon tree that's 1.5 feet tall when you could grow that in a year? And
Right.
so I
Is
think
that what it takes? Is about a year to go from seed to seedling, or how
Yeah,
long
like
for germination?
like these ones right here, they're about 4 inches tall right now. And by springtime, they'll be a foot or more tall.
Wow.
And usually I just grow them and then I give them to people around before I leave for Arizona. But this year I have a whole system that's going to stay on while we're only gone for a little bit, and I won't have to worry about them. And they'll just keep growing.
Friends, she gives away fruit trees, and that's how she makes all her friends back over where she lives. She's like, "You want to be my friend? I've got a fruit tree." Everybody loves her because she's always got really cool things. It's like not even where she tricks them, and that's how she loses friends when she gives them her toothache plant leaves. That's how she loses friends. She makes friends with the lemons, loses them with the toothache plant. Wow, that's so awesome. Like, my mind is blown about all the different ways or different things you can save for for thinking ahead. We always talk about prepping your pantry, prepping your life, getting things ready for, how you can look into the future. But really, I mean, seed saving is a really great way to prep. I mean,
Well, yeah, just think about it. If it's just your first year of gardening and you have to buy all those packets of seeds, you could spend $100
easily.
on seeds packets.
Yeah.
And so look out for seed libraries around your neighborhood that you can get free seeds. Gardeners are the most giving people.
Mhm.
If you tell them you're looking for a certain seed and they have some, they'll share their packet with you.
Yeah.
And then you just need to know, is that seed self-pollinating when it grows? Is it need a partner? Is it open pollinated? Is it heirlooms? Those are just things to learn too.
That's awesome. So when in doubt, if you're planting a new vegetable or a new fruit or something that's newer to you, when in doubt, if you're doing your research and you can't really find all the answers, is it safe to say always plant a few of that plant in case
Yes.
it does need its friends to pollinate and it needs other things while you're in the waiting period? Maybe plant a few and keep a few of those plants just in case they do need each other. I mean, that's kind of a safe bet, right?
It is. I mean, like tomatoes, peppers, beans, and peas are basically self-pollinating.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a partner.
Got it.
A lot of heirlooms will pollinate within the same plant. They have male and female flowers.
Like zucchini and
yes, zucchini, squashes, like pumpkins. Okay. If you want those kind of plants to stay true, say you grow a pumpkin that you really like, there are tricks you have to do. Otherwise, it may cross-pollinate with a neighbor's pumpkin. So you just have to know that.
Oh.
So what I do, if I want to save that particular seed, I'm going to take a male flower, and actually I pick it the night before, put it in the refrigerator, peel the petals off, and the next morning when all those female flowers open up, I pollinate by hand, and then I put a mesh bag over top of it so a bee doesn't come and pollinate it from another plant.
It's like plant in vitro.
That's right. Yep.
Dr. Sandi. Yeah?
That's amazing. Okay, that's awesome.
I'm just saying.
I've heard about the pollinating. I've heard about the like brushes and all that too. So really, if you want to keep it a true heirloom or the true of that particular one, you really have to take some of those measures. But wow, this has been such a cool episode. I really love digging into how to save seeds for your future, because it really is a way to prepare your future. Saving seeds isn't necessarily for immediately tomorrow. It's for those tomorrows that are coming up so that you can be ready to grow your own food for your family or maybe for other people, because even seeds for, community gardens or for maybe your kids or maybe for your neighbor or your sister-in-law that needs something. And like you said, gardeners are so generous with their seeds, and, it's such a cool way to figure out. I love these little tricks, like, the wet paper towel test and the wax paper. Like, I've been taking notes and it's been awesome. I hope that everyone out there has been taking notes too. And if you have any questions or if you're interested in anything like that, let us know. Ask the questions. Come check us out around the Hay Bale channel. We are on YouTube as a channel. And when we hit 500 subscribers, we're going to have a little giveaway. So definitely check us out there and come into our live this coming Friday. After this episode airs, this coming Friday, we will be doing a live radio morning show talking about, or afternoon show, depending where you are, talking about this topic a little bit more. So if you have questions for Sandi, not me, I don't really have any answers for you in this area, then you can definitely come and ask the expert here about seed saving and about all the things, because I think this is such a important topic that we covered. And I'm really excited that we got some really good information today, and I'm going to take this back and try to save some seeds. And I may be growing a couple of fruit trees this season. We shall see. We're all going to be growing these random fruit trees now around the hay bale here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciate you listening to us and spending your time with us today. And we hope to see you on the next episode. Until then, bye y'all. Bye.
Are you enjoying our hay bale topics? To learn more, click on the LinkTree link to get all of our product recommendations along with discount codes and more.